Outtakers. This is another one of my projects for the Tim Holtz Sizzix Halloween Vault 2024 series. I'm going to be using these two die sets from the Halloween Vault and these two from the Chapter 2 Vault series. So from the Halloween series, I'm using the Coffin box, and Leota's here with us again today. And so from this one, I am going to probably be just using this alphabet. And then from this one, I am going to be using the ghosts. So this is the Fright Night, and I want to use the ghosts from this. And I'm going to pair them with the large film strip. I might use this also, but I'm going to use the film strip, and then I am also going to be using this ornate frame. So this is going to be a super simple little vignette. It's not going to be anything elaborate, and I'm hoping it goes together really, really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on that. Now, I am covering the inside just with some paper that I had in my stash. And then on the outside, I'm also using paper I had from my stash. I haven't decided what I'm going to put on the lip of it, but all I do when I am cutting it to put in it, this isn't attached yet, but I just measure and then I cut the pieces to fit each of the sides. And then I will attach this, and you'll see me do that with some Distress Collage Medium Matte. All right, so I'm going to get started covering my box and then cutting all my little pieces. And when we come back, I will have the box covered, I will have my pieces cut, and we'll assemble all together. All right. I'm going to cover the box with Collage Medium and a collage brush, and that's about all I can tell you. Sorry about that. I only got about 9 seconds of me covering this. So you can't see it in other videos. Maybe I'll link to one below, but I do this in plenty of my ideology videos. So anyway, now this is covered, and I'm going to ink around the areas where I sanded off the edges. I always sand the edges so that they're nice and smooth. And now I'm going to get started cutting everything so that I can assemble it really quickly and figure out what I'm going to cover the front edge with. And then this should be done. I really think this is going to be a fast project. Now that the box is completely covered, I have my little frame. I'll talk about that in a minute. I went around and sanded everything, and then I went over it with black soot distress ink and a blending tool to just kind of bring some of the color down from that was revealed when I sanded it. And now I'm ready to start kind of building the story. The story for this box is going to be on the outside as well as the inside. So on the inside, I'm really going to have probably only one thing, and that's going to be this frame that's going to have some ghosts in it from Fright Night. So I'm going to put the ghosts in it, kind of reminiscent of, if you have been following me for any time, before I started this channel, I had, hi Leota, I had made a large tag that had a frame with some ghosts in it over a mantle for a Halloween project from several years ago. So it was these ghosts in their original version, and so I thought I kind of wanted to harken back to that a little bit, and so that's what this is. So I'm going to have them in here. Now, part of the story is that the outside, I'm going to have those same ghosts, but I'm going to have kind of like outtakes. And so I'm going to have them, but not, you know, it not be perfect. And then I'm going to kind of put these a little bit like that, something, you know. So anyway, then, and these will go over the side a little bit, but I will have the ghosts in here, and then the picture won't be right. And then this will be here with finally the right one. Okay. And then I'll cover this with something, but then the outside edge, I'm going to go ahead and do these film strips all the way around. I want to put anything behind this besides just maybe a strip of vellum. And part of me kind of feels like I might want to put some of the smaller things that are part of the Halloween Vault series and just kind of put them throughout. I'm not sure yet. So I think I'm going to take a little bit of time here, pet Leota, give this a little bit of thought, um, and then we'll move on from there. I began by adhering the small film strip all around the outside of the box. And so I would just put some dots of the Distress Collage medium on the film strip, kind of smooth it out with my fingers. And then if there was a lot of excess in any of the holes on the film strip, I would kind of poke it out with my poker tool. And then as I put it on the box, I did wipe off extra excess with my Inky Binky. And then you're going to see here at the bottom that it doesn't exactly match up, but it was on the bottom and no one's really going to notice. I cut some vellum strips that were just a little bit wider than the inside of those film strips. And then I had taken some mixed media heavy stock that I colored with black soot distress ink, and I had cut out a bunch of little spiders, a bunch of little rats, a bunch of ravens from Fright Night and oh, maybe Wicked. And so I have all of those cut and ready to use. So I ran the piece of paper before I cut them. I ran it through my Xyron. And so you're going to see me kind of peeling off the backing on those and sticking them to the vellum. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to use the die cut for the picture wheel that goes inside. It fits right inside this film strip. And so you can see all those little squares I cut out of the picture wheel. And I used the little square die cuts that fit right into that film strip. And so now I'm just gluing those in and attaching them in the film strip. And now I am cutting my ghosts. And what I'm cutting is just vellum that I have run through the Xyron as well. So I have a couple more strips of vellum and I am peeling off that backing and I'm sticking those ghosts right onto the vellum. So they're very translucent and I had a lot of fun with this, just trying to figure out how I was going to place these ghosts and what they would look like. Now I had drawn some squares so that I could place it under and I could see where I would need to position the ghosts. So I do have on the vellum piece that's under those, that is kind of giving me a guideline so that I know what's going to be outside of the film strip square and what's going to be inside. And it's helping me to figure out where I need to place these cute little ghosts. So I am kind of overlapping them in some parts. And of course, I'm making sure that some of the parts of the ghosts are going to be outside those frames because they're outtakes. They're not going to be perfect. So this part is a lot of fun. And I did cut off their arms sometimes, or like in that instance, I folded the arm up instead of it going out. And so that made them a little bit different too. Some of them don't have arms, some of them the arms are going up. And now I'm using that die from the picture wheel to go ahead and cut these out so they will fit into the frames as well. And you can see that I'm making sure to cut off parts of their faces or their arms or whatever to make these funny outtakes. So you can just have a lot of fun with this. I really enjoyed putting this together this way. All right, so I have my 3 done. And then these are also little vellum ghosts. And I colored some vellum with some blue distress ink and cut out a little bow tie. And then I cut out some stars that I could use for kind of a hair bow, a star in that's in the hair bow, and then also in the middle of that little bow tie. Those are from Wicked, the stars from Wicked. And then I used my craft knife to cut off the bottom and their arms or anything that was sticking outside the frame. And now I want to finish off my box. And so I love, love, love design tape trim. I always put down just a little bit of Distress Collage medium and then I stick that design tape down to the collage medium so it will permanently adhere once it dries. I just think that the design tape adds the perfect little detail and finishing touch to any project, and I really, really love it. All right, I wanted to add some dimension to my project, so I took two wood slices. These were part of the Christmas ideology line for several years, and I still have some in my stash. And so I glued those together, two of them, and then attached the frame to the top. But really, you can use anything you have on hand, foam, bingo chips, anything like that. This is just about finished, so the frame is now dry. All the outside parts are dry, and I think this really turned out cute. You can see kind of the spider looks like it's running all over the place. You have the bird here kind of in a little bit of a progression, and then you have the rat kind of running around, and then on the back here are outtakes where they're, you know, not quite ready, and then our final with the little bow tie and the little star in the hair and all of that. So I was going to put ominous outtakes across the top and the bottom, but it just took away from the frame and the ghosts. So then I still have outtakes down here, and I'm trying to decide what I want to do. What I started doing was that I put some vellum behind one of the small, and I was going to do ominous and outtakes, but it was just too big. And Leona, yeah, oh my goodness, she is demanding, so she just tapped me on the back there. So I'm thinking I might do this again. This is how I did it, and then just trimmed it. So I may do it again and just do 4 across the bottom and kind of have it hang off the bottom with outtakes. I may do that, so I still have this out here, but I think that I want to set this on something, and so I pulled out one of my finial sets. Now, these have been retired for several years, but you can still get them from Simon Says Stamp, and I would imagine you can probably get them from some other places as well, because they were very popular to use, and you may even have some in your stash like I do. I have a bunch of these when I heard they were retiring. You know how I do. I always have to, you know, purchase some. So I'm thinking of doing the large one at the bottom here and having that as my base. Let me move outtakes. So I'm thinking of having that as my base at the bottom. I know it really stands out right now because it's stark white, but I'm going to paint it black, and then it won't stand out as much. So part of that is that I chose 2 paints, black soot and tarnished brass. Tarnished brass is kind of an antique gold color. And so I started by painting the areas where I wanted to have those, just kind of those edges. They're going to be lines of gold that are actually going to end up being on this. I didn't want like big gold sections, but I did want the lines to be gold. And so I just painted the whole area on both of these and then went back with my black soot paint. And that's where I did my detailing. I didn't tape that for some reason. I don't know what happened, but there's the finished product. Surprise. I really took care when I was painting the black to make sure that I just left those gold lines in. And now I'm roughing it up, kind of sanding off some of that black soot paint and letting the wood show through. And now I'm going to take my Scorched Timber Distress crayon and a paintbrush, a little bit of water, and I am just kind of getting that pencil or crayon right down in there and onto the wood surfaces, drying it, kind of making it look a little old and worn. And then when I put it together, I realized that design tape really made it feel too dark. And so I took my Hickory Smoke Distress Crayon and I just rubbed it here and there all over it, used my fingers to kind of rub it in and kind of knock down some of that color and make it look a little dusty, uh, as well as old, as if that paint color had kind of faded over the years, and I felt like that made it fit in better. And then I decided I wanted a little more detail, so I added some distress collage medium on this little area of the finial that's kind of sticking out, and then smoothed it out with my finger, and I took some of that same design tape trim, and I added that on that area, pressed it down into the collage medium with my fingers, and was ready to go. I took a piece of distress metallic craft stock and I embossed it with the Kaleidoscope mini embossing folder, and then I put black soot distress paint over it. You can see it there. There's one corner that doesn't have any on it, and it was shinier than the rest. So I wanted it to look very antiqued and old before I die cut it, and I die cut the stars out of it from the Wicked Vault die set because I wanted some textured stars. So I'm showing you how they're textured there, and you can kind of see the black soot in some of the depressions. I cut out several sets of the stars so I would have plenty because I wanted to put stars on the front and on the back of the box just for a little added kind of Hollywood detail. I love the finished product. So here it is, and you may notice a change already. I had misspelled and I didn't see it until I took the picture, and then I realized, oh no, it's already done and I've misspelled Outtakes. So I took the film strip off and cut another one and cut new letters, and so now it's spelled correctly. So I used the new, well, the new old, right? Because it's from the vault, but I love this font that's part of the Coffin box. And then all the little stars are so fun. So on the back, I have the stars. I have the stars all over here. And then I even use stars for the bow tie. I cut the bow tie part out just by hand. I just did a little quick little bow tie. But for the hair bow and then for the bow tie bow, and I cut those out of vellum, and then my little ghosties out of vellum. And so for the portrait, you can see that I did alter them. I did cut their arms off for the portrait. But on the back, I do have arms on 2 of them. So those are as they appear, except this arm's folded up. So that's exactly how the arms are with the die. This is the arm folded up. And then this one, oops, that little arm folded up. I'm gonna have to glue that down. This one, I have the arms cut off of this guy, and then her arm got cut off just because that's how it worked. But anyway, I thought the stars were kind of a fun addition to make it seem like it was, you know, filmy Hollywood, all of that kind of film strip type thing. And then it's just kind of fun looking at the spider doing his thing on the film, then the bird doing its thing on the film, and then a little rat doing its thing on the film. All little dies from the vault sets Wicked and the Coffin box and the other one. Anyway, so this was a lot of fun. That base you can see with just that little bits of gold detail and the little bit of design tape that is on there, as well as the same design tape that's around here. I felt like that really went with the whole film Hollywood outtakes kind of thing as well. I had a blast making it. I hope you enjoyed following along with me. And as always, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them in the comment section for this video. Want any of the things that I used in this, go ahead and check those out in the description for this video, as well as on my blog at playswellwithpaper.blogspot.com. You can also comment there if you would like, or send me an email from there with a question. Well, thank you so much for following along for this video tutorial. I hope you found it inspirational, and I want to wish you a very creative day.